Hey folks, AJ the CEO here, and we are back with another bundle. I've been installing a bunch of these cameras at a bunch of churches, and thankfully, instead of having to one-off and buy a camera here, and a joystick, they're doing more bundles. I've used a bunch of them before, but today we're checking out the Fomako 220X PTZ bundle with joystick. So let's go ahead and cut in. And actually, before I even do that, this is going for $1,099. So a good deal for two cameras and a joystick. And I believe these are two AI cameras. I'll correct that if I'm wrong. But let's go ahead and cut over. This is actually going to be for a church that I did install about 3 years ago. And they want to add some more cameras. And the original camera that I installed, they really don't sell that one anymore because you can actually get better features for the same price. So that's why I went with this one instead. But again, I'll take you along when we do this install. But let's go ahead and crack this open. And my mouse pad is getting in the way. And I thought I was going to open up that way, but it's not. All right, so these cameras are NDI cameras. So I thought they possibly were AI, never know. And my overhead light is dead, so I'll have to do some white balancing on here to make this look better. So we got our two manuals here for the camera. We got the manual for the joystick. Again, we've reviewed every single one of these items. Not this camera, it's the newer one, but the joystick we did do a review of from there. So I like how they got these organized and they're not stuck all over the place. So we got our screws here, mounting screws here, or as well for the mounts, if it's a ceiling mount. We got our, why am I going blank on the name of it? Anyway, the plastic tips that's gonna be for the anchors. That's the word I couldn't say. The plastic anchors and the screws for each one of the PTZs. We got 2 of them, and they actually gave us 4 bags of screws, which I do like, and they have the little plastic spacer sometimes when you have a little bit of extra space. So that is cool. Got more than enough for here. We got our RS-232 connection here, and we have our power plug for our joystick. But again, all of these are PoE powered, so I'm not going to be using that. All right, in our one box, we have our USB-B cable, remote, power plug for the joystick, and this is a RS-422 cable. Again, we're only going to need one of the remotes. Let's see if that's the same thing in both boxes. And it is. So we set this aside. Set this aside. All right, we got our joystick here. Now I'll keep the cover on this and take it off when we actually install it. And I'm already happy right now because they actually include 2 ceiling mounts, which I like. Fomako is the only company that I've noticed that actually gives you both types of mounts for your PTZs. All right, we got our cameras here. A little bit bigger than the other ones that I normally would use, but that is fine. Still light, but heavier than the other ones I've used. But still, like, I would say this feels like it's maybe 6 pounds, not anything super heavy. And then if I take this out, we have our wall mounts. So like I said, I love the fact that they include both, and it's not an extra expense to add a ceiling mount. So I'm putting all this stuff in reverse so that I can easily put everything back together here. All right, let's set this aside. And man, those wall mounts are heavy. All right, so if we punch in and let's look at our connections here. So on the back of this, we have our USB 3.0, HDMI out, line in, RS-232 and RS-485. So my correction, that wasn't a 422, that was 485. And it looks like that's the same connection that's going to be for your RS-232 and RS-485. Your LAN connection, DC power, and your on-off switch. Let's go ahead and set that to on right now. We'll do that for both. Let's take the cap off of there. And that one. Now, typically, I use the same type of switch to power this, which is a BV Tech cable. I mean, not cable, but PoE switch. I actually upgraded mine, so I actually have another one. This one used to be right up under here, but I am using this one now. And just in case I can't remember what I installed there, I need to go back at the video and see what was done. Worst case scenario, I will gift this to them and make sure that this powers everything as well. So I need to get some cables real quick, or I need to make some. I think I have some short cables, so I'll do that here. So let's run this over here, plug that in, and we're gonna give our main connection from our switch under here. So we got a connection, and we'll be able to see this on the network. And again, because I don't remember what the IP address is, I will do this all over again to set the IP addresses here. And I want to make sure I don't knock my controller off of here. But we need to put this rather close because of the type of cables that I have. Let's see. So I do have one long one that would be for the joystick. The other ones, I think I should be good being relatively close. Now I do, again, the fact that most of these joysticks actually run off of the same protocols, it's not like you're really struggling to try and figure out which one is which. But I do like the fact that they do have it in a bundle, because I get so many questions. And a lot of times, a lot of people are buying these cameras one off and then they're adding ones later on in the future. So just realize that any of these recent cameras, if they use, most of them will always have some type of VSCA or VSCA over IP. So that is going to be fine, so that you can mix and match. Again, in here, I got a BZB gear that you're looking at right here. We got a PTZ optics. What you're looking at right there, that's an AV cams. We got another Fomako right there. And they all work under the same thing. So don't worry about mix and matching. But if you really wanted my opinion, honestly, if you got it, try to use the same one, because that way you at least know the image quality and everything is going to be the same. And you don't have to really work that much in mixing this stuff up. And let me use this one instead. I got some new shorter cables because the other ones that I had were kind of difficult to unplug. Now, again, these are NDI powered, so I'll be able to see these over the network. So we got this one on. And I guess we need to flip the power button on here. So that way, when I always set these up, I always set the power on because the PoE switch is what's going to give these power. So we got both of these set up now. Now let's zoom in on our joystick here. Hopefully you'll be able to see the screen here so we can get her into focus. All right, there we go. So let's go through and try and set these again. We haven't set up any IP address at all. So we're gonna go over here to search. And again, it's seeing everything that I got. And it looks like the first two here, those two, because I do all of my IP addresses in order. So that is 92 is the one that you're seeing right here, the overhead. 93 is that one right here. 94 is the other Fomako. And 91 is the PTZ optic. So again, the joystick sees them all. We see it under two protocols. We see them under on VIF, and we also see it over VSCA over IP. So I'm just gonna do these, I'm not gonna set the IP addresses because I gotta do this all over again. So let's go ahead and set the first one. Let's do 137. And we're gonna save that. We're gonna set it to a shortcut. We're gonna make that camera number 1. And then let's go to the other one and we're gonna save that to camera number 2. And that's pretty much it. Now let's go to our settings. We got a network. Let's see what our network is on here. So we got an IP address. Obviously, I'm gonna change this as well too when we're there. And personally, I want to turn off that sound because that is quite annoying. All right, so the beep is off, so yay. So now we got this set. We can come in here to camera 1. Let's punch out here. And let's see about moving this thing. So we're on camera 1. And there it is. It's kind of slow. We need to turn up the speed here. There we go. And we look that one up. That's camera 1. Then we go to camera 2. And there we go. Very straightforward. Now, I'm not going to hook these into my ATEM, but what we're going to do is I'm going to take you over to the computer and let's go ahead and look at our signals here and our image from each one and just see what the options show on the each camera. So I got to remember IP is 223 and 137. So let's go to the computer. Alrighty, we're here back on the desktop. Let's go ahead and check out a few things first. So if you ever have any issue, now most of these other PTZ companies, they actually are shipping the cameras at DHCP, so it'll grab our IP address. But just in case you have one that does not get that, we can go to Fomako's website, and all these other companies do this. We're going to go over here to support and downloads. And we're going to scroll all the way down, go to the first page, and we're going to look up the Fomako search tool. Go ahead and download that. And I am going to drag this over here. And let's put this on the desktop. And I love how I put it right there, but Windows decides to put it on a different screen. Let's move this back over here. There we go. And it's like opening all my windows, completely different monitors. So once we got this open, here's the tool here, and we can search. And I don't know why it's saying that's my IP address, but let's search here. And then let's do a search on the network. And there are our two cameras right there. So, you know, if you had to find them, you can use this tool right here. I use advanced IP scanner, but again, this is made from them, so they'll know exactly which one there. So let's go to 192.168.0.137. That's the first one. Then 192.168.0.223. That is the second one. And there we go. There's our login. There's our login. By default, it should be admin. And boom, there we go. So again, we can move it from right here. And the same way, let's log into this other one here. And let's look over here at the other computer that I'm looking at to record everything. All right, so let's look at the, does this have tracking? I think it does. Oh, that's a bonus right there. I thought it did. So I'm glad I didn't have to go back and edit. So if we turn that on, click track, and there it goes. So it's tracking. So that's cool. We need to play around with that. So the tracking tips, I think that's what my other camera does. I need to turn that off. Human frame. Well, let's come back to that because I am pleasantly surprised that that has AI tracking in it. And it's for $1,100 with two 20x PTZs and AI tracking and a joystick. That's cool. All right, so we got our audio input. I'm gonna turn that off because I don't use that. Video encoding, we can set that if you wanted to. Stream publishing, you could, you know, connect to that, connect it to wherever. I normally have that off. Multicast and unicast, same features, honestly. Almost all these cameras have the same thing. You got your focus, you can change the sensitivity, exposure. All of these things can be set on the joystick as well too. So I'm just gonna go in here and set some of the things that I do here. So I set it at 60 Hertz to get rid of that flicker. And let's actually just put these side by side so that we can set both of these. All right, so we're at video parameters. That way I know I've set it up the same way. 60 Hertz. Yes, refresh, it's there. Let's make sure both of them, we got our focus, our color should be on auto. Same settings, image. We got our auto flip. So that's the other thing I like about the Fomakos. When I put these upside down and mount them, I don't have to go in and change the settings in the menu. It will detect that it's upside down and do it automatically. We can turn on low light mode. That's another one that I haven't noticed with the other ones, what Fomako does have. So I really like that. In our, I think that's noise reduction. I could be wrong. And then style. So everything is there. Let's go to the video on-screen display. We just have title. We can change our font, the position, all that stuff. Our font size. I'm really not that concerned with that. Then we set our output. Both of them are set to 1080p 60. That's the highest resolution. You got 1080p 50, 1080p 30, 1080p 25, 720p 60, 50, and it will also have 1080p 5994. So if you're using the old ATEM Television Studio HD that wants it at broadcast frame rates, there you go, 5994 and 2997. But there's no 720p 2997. I would hope you wouldn't be streaming at that, but it's good to know. All right, we go to our network here. You got your ports for everything. For OnVIF, theirs is defaultly 2000. For Visca, that is UDP. That is 2959. So that's where you get your ports from. Ethernet, like I said, both of them are set to DHCP, but we'll come in and set those. The joystick will be like 50, then camera 151, 52. I can't remember. I thought they actually, I got to go back and remember. I think we just built a computer for them. I don't recall the full setup. So you never know. We might be adding another joystick to the mix if they already have one. Or this would just be upgrading the one that they have and we switch out. So you got your all the same settings that you see with any modern PTZ IP and stuff like that. So that's good. We can give it a name here. I'll actually go in here and change this name now. The number 2 device ID, we'll change that to, don't it let me change that. I think that's one of the things I didn't like. On any of them, it won't let you change it like that. I think that's for something different. All right, in here we can set our time zone. And where I'm installing this is going to be Eastern. And you can set it to a time server if you want to. I'm going to go ahead and enable that. Not that I use the time on here, but, you know, we're there. We could sync it with the computer that you're connected to. You can set up user settings, change the password if you want. And I don't know why it's asking that. This is where you can go if you want to update the firmware. And then we can reset it back to the defaults and all that other fun stuff. But what we're going to do now is let's go ahead and test out the tracking function now that this has tracking on it. And let me turn back on my wireless mic so we can test this out. I'm going to use one of these and set this, and let's see what this thing can do. All right, so let's focus on this one. Let's go back to our settings here, and let's look at the settings here. We're going to turn on tracking. We have modes here. Let's go full screen here. And we can human frame, auto zoom, auto tilt, lost reaction. What do you want it to do if it loses a person? Do you want to go back to its home screen, have it stay where it's at, go to a preset? I haven't set any preset, but let's see, setting tips. Turn off auto scaling or auto tilt and zoom will not change. Determining the zoom size and tilt position based on the starting position of that. Okay. We can set regions, and let's look at the settings for that. Each region preset needs to be set so that they are continuous from left to right and overlap. So might need to play around with that a little bit more to get some understanding, but let's just use it at its basics. And let me hook up a cable here so we can look exactly on what the camera is doing. There we go. So let's switch over to that. And now let's see, does it do some tracking here? All right, so we definitely need to turn off the human tracker because we wouldn't want this box to be on the entire time, but it's doing good. Let's go ahead and turn off the frame. So see, it lost me and it went back to its home screen. So now let's search back over here again. It got me. So we got the window off, so it's not doing that. Let's see if I sit on down, and hopefully it's not going to follow me from there, and got it in focus. Let me turn these lights off here. So doing pretty good. Now I wonder from a camera standpoint, does it actually, I mean, not from a camera standpoint, but from a joystick standpoint, do we have the functions to be able to manually turn off and on the tracking? Because that's one of the new features with one of these programmable buttons that we do like to be able to do. And let's, come on. This one, this overhead camera, for whatever reason, when I have it like this, it makes it a little problematic when I'm trying to put it in focus. All right, so let's see. We want to go to, see, this one doesn't have any, well, we got 2 function buttons right here. So let's see, because when I did the other one, it wasn't a lot of AI tracking in there. But let's see, we got hotkeys. Let's see. So those are the camera buttons. Got 7 camera buttons. We got keys. All right, function 1 and function 2. So let's switch to status page. All right, so we can set it as custom. What other functions do we have? So it looks like we're going to have to manually dial in the setting, the hex code or whatever, to actually have it do auto turn off tracking and off. A little bit extra work, doable. Wish it actually had it already programmed. So under here, command, yeah, you'd have to type out the hex code for that. So I'm definitely going to have to go back and do that, look that up and get it. I mean, it is a VSCA protocol. So as long as it's doing the VSCA protocol, you should be able to do that. So it's not that big of a deal. But especially turning something on, this is where I like this to be a button command where I just press and it turns it on and off. So I do like that. But that is pretty much about it. Again, you got, now I don't like the fact that it says it's NDI, but I didn't see anywhere in the menus where it says it's NDI. If I find it later on when I'm editing this, I will append it. But that's the one thing I would say I don't like about the fact that it says it was NDI. Here, even in the manual, it's saying that of what it should and shouldn't be. But that kind of stinks. Now, under here, in the it's saying the remote is programmed that if you press F1, it will turn off auto tracking. F2 is to turn on it. F3 is to switch the modes. And F4 is this auto track to follow a different person. So the remote has it. So obviously it responds to it, but I wish they would have those same commands put into the joystick, and that makes it a whole lot easier. And I'm going to have to look through here because I'm not seeing anything where it's talking about the NDI stuff, because it specifically said it does support NDI, but I don't like doing something like that. So I'm calling that out to you now, that if you're getting this for NDI as of right now, I'm not seeing how to enable it going through the menus or anything like that. But I think that's about it. Again, I do like the fact that it's actually giving some more competition to this 2-camera joystick bundle, and it's the same price. $1,099, $1,100. Only thing you got to buy is your PoE switch. If you plug in everything, you got everything you need. You just need some Ethernet cables and some video cables for that. But let me know if you have any other questions about this. I will probably be installing this next week. I need to set that schedule with them to do this. But another great product from Fomako. Again, they didn't send this to me. I bought this for the client. So I might as well review the whole thing and let y'all see, so that there are multiple other options out there for bundles. And they do have other options, 30X and other ones that you can do, different color ones and all this other fun stuff. But let me know if you have any questions, and link is down below if you want to get one of these things. So if you like this type of content, appreciate a like, consider subscribing, hit that bell. That way you get notified when we come out with other videos to help modernize your media ministry. Thanks for watching, folks. This is AJ. Catch you on the next video. Later.